a little bit here. It never gets easy when you see students going down the wrong path and the parents take no interest or nobody else seems to take an interest, but you always personally took an interest and did your best to try to make them a good person. So yesterday I'm teaching my kids class and these three teenagers come in. Now granted, one came in and the hair was so long I actually thought it was a mom bringing in her two teenage sons, maybe to sign them up for classes. And as I'm looking, I finally realized this mom wouldn't be wearing a wife beater and dressed like that. So I went over, and it was one of my old students, and he was covered in tattoos. He had sores all up and down his arms, which is a sign of drug use. Open sores, big ones, open sores on his arms. Wearing a wife beater, and he's only 15 and reeked of putrid cigarette and body odor. Just reeked. As bad as you might imagine, it was that bad. And I looked at him, I'm like, man, what happened to you? What are you doing? Are you out being a little criminal now? And he looked at me and went, no. So I corrected him. I was like, first of all, anytime you speak to me, you better say no, sir. What are you doing here? What do you want? Oh, we just cruising. And the two other boys used to train with me briefly also, but their parents let them quit. And I cannot tell you enough the importance of your child having a structured program that they're involved in, that they interact with other kids on a positive level. Every parent, me too, says, oh, that's not my kid. I mean, granted, believe me, I used to always say, that'll never be my son, that'll never be my son. Boy, was I wrong. Because I'm involved with my son. And I was there with my son every minute of every day. And sometimes it just still doesn't matter. But this kid, 15 years old, covered in tattoos and sores. As a parent, I would have noticed that. I would have been to my son like, hey man, what the hell? What's going on with you? So I asked this kid, so what, you look like a criminal. Are you out being a little thug or what? And he goes, oh, no. I told him, when you speak to me, you better address me properly. Matter of fact, bow. And he looked at me for a second, and I said, bow right now. And I made him do it, and I did that intentionally. I did it so his friends could see that he wasn't in control for the image that he was trying to project. This kid, back when he was 11 or 12, as soon as he would finish our classes, and he was a good boy. I mean, he was misdirected, but we were always trying to give him positive compliments and always trying to build him up. And he wanted people to just see, man, that he was street. He had that street cred. And at the same time, he'd get beat up every day by girls. I mean, girls have kicked him in the face and, I mean, rung his bell. So it's not like he was tough, but he wanted people to see that image of him that he was. So he'd go to the bathroom. He would run to the bathroom when class finished, I guess because his parents only gave him a certain amount of time to go do what he wanted. And he would come out with this dirty denim jacket with the sleeves cut out, a stocking cap on, a beanie, and put on these leather gloves with spikes in the hands with the fingers cut out. And the first time I asked him, are you going to a party? What are you dressed up for? And he goes, oh no, this is how I dress. And I'm like, your parents let you dress like that? Yeah. Well, where are you going now? Well, I'm going to the mall to cruise with my friends. I went, you and your friends cruise the mall like this, looking like little criminals. Oh yeah. And as you can see now, as I saw, it's only gotten worse and manifested into real problems. You know, those open sores are a indication of methamphetamine. The kid was as skinny as can be, just as skinny as I mean, he looked emaciated. Also a sign of methamphetamine and drug abuse. And I hope that it wasn't, but man, parents, you need to understand, just because your child doesn't want to do something doesn't mean you have to let them quit. There are times when you need to realize your child needs to be in an environment with other kids who socially interact with them, kids who are uh, being taught the lesson of respect and to respect other people. And that the first thing the kids learn when they come into my classes are, what's the first lesson? The first lesson is respect, and respect begins with a bow. And they recite that every day. And it's not that I'm just trying to get them to repeat some sort of a sales phrase or a pitch or a life skills quote. I want to instill that seed from the time that they're very, very small. And I'm just shocked. I mean, I asked him, so what, are you, you look like a criminal. Is that what you're trying to do? And, oh, I'm working with my dad. So this kid is working with his dad, and the kid's only 15 years old, and he's covered in tattoos and sores and emaciated. Going up because there should be a red flag going worth their salt. There should be a red flag growing up. But this kid and the other two that he was with were on this path, and they were determined that they wanted to thank you very much for the compliment. That means a lot to me. I've taught martial arts for 30 years, and I've taken a personal interest in every child. So the comments just now, thank you, that really does mean a lot to me. And it's heartbreaking for me to see these kids go down this path. I've had two of my former students that were murdered. I've had several who have went to prison, and it never gets easier. And I just want to scream from the rafters, I told you so, please. And I told this kid, you know what, maybe you should come back here and start training again. Maybe you should get back in this gym. No, I power ready. You power ready? Yeah. Well, maybe you should do kickboxing and bring your friends. Because two things. One, I'd like to give them a couple of smacks in the ring. And two, hopefully maybe light a fire up and get this guy to realize, God, I used to get my ass beat by girls, and now I'm dressing like a little thug rat. And maybe I should, it's not too late. Maybe I can change around and I can still not drop out of high school. Because that's the next thing I asked him. Did you quit school? And he looked at me and laughed. And I was like, did you quit? No. So, man, I hope he graduates. It doesn't take much in Hawaii to graduate high school. You know, and from the mainland, like where I'm from, it took 36 credits. In Hawaii, I think it was 18 at the time. So half the credits. Kids barely even know how to read, and they can graduate high school. But this kid, man, I was just heartbroken that another one of my students. So I don't know why he came up. I asked him, what are you doing here? Oh, just cruising. And you can see that he doesn't know what he's doing, because he's going into a place where absolutely nobody is going to respect that behavior, and he's trying to get the respect from people that would never give it to him through being a criminal and showing people, hey, look at me, man, I'm a badass, look at me. I smoke cigarettes, I'm 15, I got tattoos all over me, I got these sores all over my arms, smells like I haven't taken a bath in 2 months, but bro, I'm a badass, look at me, bro, I don't take no shit, I got street cred, I got mean street cred, and it's just heart-wrenching. You know, like I said, it never gets easier, and I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've seen so many guys lose their way, and for me, even putting on my black belt every day, and I've told students this before, that black belt is my moral compass. I could have been a criminal, I could have been a bad person, but I come in there every day. The majority of the time, I don't even get a train because everybody is complaining or whining or whatever. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. But I come in there every day, and I put that belt on, and I do the best that I can do to try to be that example, instead of going home and taking drugs beating my family or blaming it on somebody else. One thing that I've never been is part of society's problem. And I've always tried to be the best that I could to be a part of my community and set a good example. And that's one of the things that you should learn from martial arts. I don't care what school you're training at, anywhere across the country. You're an example all the time. And nobody's perfect all the time. But what is the image that you want to project? And I say this knowing that I've had several kids who have went to prison. I've had students who have, I've really tried to reach in the past that did the exact same thing, the way they dressed, their involvement in gangs. I had students who have tried to kill people. They've shot, robbed cab drivers, and they think they're badasses. And I know for a fact that one of them is in prison right now, and he is getting his ass handed to him every day. So he's not a badass now, but it takes a lot to stay on.
넌 나한테 아군이야 적군이야.
And to
피하 식별 확실히 해.
always try to do what's right, because nobody's perfect. But it begins with that first bow. It begins with parents telling your kids, you don't have a choice, you're going to class. When parents start telling kids, oh man, I don't want to argue with you every day, the kids start throwing a fit, and yeah, I want to go cruise the mall. And of course, all right, parents, what are your kids doing while they're cruising the mall? Well, are they shoplifting? Are they experimenting with meth for the first time? Are they hanging out with reputable friends? Have you met their friends? Because I can tell you with this kid, tattoos at 15 years old, and he just turned 15. If I was his dad, the first thing I would have done is ask him who the tattoo artist was that did it, and I'd go kick the shit out of that guy. And I'd tell him, are you out of your fucking mind? This is a kid. It's a child. He's gonna wear that for the rest of his life now. And the second thing I'd do is I'd go make an appointment with a dermatologist, and I'd have that stuff laser removed. But you know, you can only do so much. And as instructors, a lot of times parents blame us and they want to hold us responsible for everything. So listen closely, I'm going to end this. As an instructor, I can only do so much with 1 to 2 hours a week. And if I'm trying to send a positive message and they go home and they see their siblings doing drugs, they see dad doing drugs, they see the parents don't care what they're doing, how they're dressing, what they're wearing, their appearance, what they're involved in every day, the other 23, 22 hours a day, I'm not doing anything to help your kid, no matter how much I want to. I am not benefiting them at all. It's the parent's job. Now, this kid I remember, PsyCap, who just got killed last week by the cops, everybody's, oh, blame the parents, blame the parents. This kid was already out of control. And you can't blame the parents every time. Sometimes the parents are working 2 jobs. I work 2 jobs. Sometimes the parents, I work 3 jobs actually. Sometimes the parents are just doing everything they can do just to try to pay the rent and make sure their kids have food. And the kids are affected by others in their community, you know, these little criminal elements and little gangs and hoodlums. But parents, stop letting your kids make decisions that they know nothing about. And teach them that the first lesson is respect. And that comes with hard work, whether you like to do it every day or not. It's something that just has to be done. It's called responsibility. Out.